So let's bring in our legal panel. Mercedes Colwin is a criminal defense attorney and Fox News legal analyst, and Bob Bianchi is a criminal defense attorney and former head county prosecutor. Thank you both for joining us.
Pleasure.
Great to be here. So what do we know about this attorney that he's hired? Bob, I'll start with you.
Well, he was with another law firm, and Mueller took 3 lawyers from that law firm for part of the Russian probe investigation. So rightly so, that law firm said, listen, there could be a conflict here. You should consult outside counsel to see whether or not you want a lawyer from another law firm so that there's no appearance of impropriety. And in fact, while I think he's still using 1 or 2 of those lawyers from that firm, he went and got another lawyer who is specializing not only in white-collar criminal defense, but also dealing with the political ramifications of high-profile public figures that go through something like this.
And he's not the only one that has lawyered up, as you say. Why is that important to do? Why are they doing this?
Well, certainly, and we were just talking about it before we started, you want to go to the prosecutors and have a proffer. You don't want to go in front of them and just talk. It's not a casual conversation. There's a lot at stake. These are federal investigators. If you lie or it's perceived that you're lying, you can have separate charges just by the mere fact that you've made misrepresentations to these federal investigators. So that's why routinely we're both defense attorneys. Clients will come if they're in the crosshairs of an investigation and say, I've been compelled to speak to these federal investigators. Can we discuss it? The first thing that Bob and I will do is, like, we need to get a proffer. When we have a proffer, that means an agreement with the prosecution that if our clients come forward and have a discussion with them, discussion, quote unquote, and under the investigation, we say that with a smile on our face, they will not be criminally implicated for what they've shared.
Yeah, nothing they say can be used against them during that proffer. What's happening?
But do they have access to all of that information?
Does who have access?
There was one question that people were talking about, comparing it to Clinton, saying that the reason they were hiring these outside lawyers because there would be client and lawyer privileged information that they would not have access to, the investigators.
Listen, I analyze cases not on politics but on law. I mean, what was happening in the Clinton investigation, which is no different than what's going to happen in this investigation, is good lawyering. It's protective lawyering, even for the innocent people. So the U.S. Attorney's Office gets all of the data and information. They have a lot more data than you have when you go in there, even on a proffer. And people are going to exercise Fifth Amendment. They're going to get attorneys. They're not going to speak unless they get immunity, or what they call queen for a day, through the proffer session. And this is just good lawyering, whether or not you're a Democrat or a Republican. Because, as they say, the Fifth Amendment is not only there to protect the guilty, but the innocent as well.
And, you know, this is a new administration, and it's different than anything we've ever seen before. Obviously, President Trump, a huge businessman, Jared Kushner as well, very successful businessman. So what about this loan? I mean, it seems like it would have been something that he would have just normally done, but they're questioning the time of it.
They're questioning the time of it. They're questioning that there may have been a Russian bank that's been involved. I mean, so much of this is being mucked up and really delving into areas that, frankly, may not have any fruitful, it's not a fruitful exercise, but we don't know. It's sort of the tip of the iceberg. These federal investigators, we know because we've dealt with these federal investigators, are so aggressive. They will leave no stone unturned. They have to go through each avenue, even if it ultimately becomes a red herring.
And Heather, another issue, and I've done political prosecution cases, what people don't understand. First of all, this isn't even an investigation of Jared Kushner based on these anonymous sources, which becomes very difficult. It's an inquiry. And they would be irresponsible not to look for any financial connections here. But Jared Kushner has made it very clear that he, in fact, is willing to testify before the Senate committees and go in and speak without immunity, without the Fifth Amendment protections, or whatever. So the mere fact that it's an inquiry right now, to be very, very careful. He's a huge business guy. He has relationships throughout the entire world, in all those other places. What if one of those other countries hacked, if that's in fact what happened? Do we now blame him because, oh, he had a business relationship with him and that country hacked? You can't make that connection at this point in time, just like you couldn't make a lot of connections on the Hillary Clinton case. Federal prosecutors want it in a box with a bow, no ifs, ands, and buts, handed to you, and it's got to be rock solid.
And you know, when this investigation's done, everyone's going to be looking at it and doing a real postmortem to make sure everything was done.
Bob, Mercedes, thank you very much.
Great to be here. Thanks.
John?